It is working and we are live now. Hi,
Wow.
everyone. Hi, everyone. This is Ouassima. Welcome to my channel today. I am so delighted to have Cilla Conway with me today. Cilla Conway is the creator of the amazing decks. I have now, I will show you the boxes so I don't forget any name. So the creator of Intuitive Tarot, this is the second edition. She's the creator also of the Diva of Creation and also the Byzantine Tarot. I got all of them together. Welcome, Cilla. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. It
Good.
was quite a week.
Yes. Are you in France at the moment?
I am in Lisbon. I have, I used to live in Canada and I moved to
Yeah.
Lisbon like 2 months ago.
So is the temperature as bad as it is in France at the moment?
No, we had weeks and weeks of cold and snow. Sorry, no snow. It looks like I'm coming from Canada, right?
Yeah.
Of rain and clouds. And yesterday it started to have some
Cheer
sunshine
up.
and we went outside, but no, we couldn't go to the beach, nothing for all the month of June.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I hear it is really hot from your side. You are now in Italy, I think.
Yep. And it was 40 degrees yesterday, so I'm kind of melting.
Okay. Are you sure you are gonna have some leftover Sila, at the end of the interview? And I see you have a nice house there,
Yeah, it's a stone house, so it's lovely and cool. So I've stayed inside for the last 4 days.
yeah, in stone is not the same as when you live in a big city. All that. I think
Oh,
you live also outside the city, right?
yes, I'm actually quite a long way away from the nearest town, 23 kilometers from the nearest big town, which I couldn't have done in England, but here in Italy, somehow it works.
It is
So,
possible. What
mm,
brought you there? I know that I have questions, but I asked you if we can do it like an interview,
yeah,
intuitive
yeah,
interview.
absolutely. By the way, this is you'll hear the bells because we have a church just down there, and the bells ring every half hour.
Wow, beautiful. So, how did you move to Italy? What brought you from England or UK to Italy?
It was quite weird actually because obviously I lived in London and I'd lived there for I don't know too long, 40 odd years. And then my brother said that he was going to start traveling around in a camper, and my best friend is making a big camper in a truck. And I thought, do I still need to be in London? I've been reading tarot for 14 or 15 years, and I don't know, can't remember how old I was, but quite old. And I thought, no, I don't need to be here. Where would I like to be? And I had this sort of vision of a house on a hill with a brilliant view. I think it was my aunt's house in Zimbabwe because that's where I was brought up. And I thought, yeah, I'll go for that and I'll go for Italy. And I sort of got sidetracked. I did go to France and have a look in France. But the house that I found was lovely, but you couldn't see the mountains. And I'd fallen in love with the mountains here. So that's what happened. I just found this house after about 5 months of looking and fell in love with it and the mountains and bought it. Incredible. The way it worked was incredible.
This is interesting. I hear you talking, Sila, and there is something coming through which is about getting out of frontiers or limits or physical limits. And I feel like you are more international through your work. You are, I would say, multi-dimensional when I see your
That's
decks.
interesting. interesting that you say that, because my last two decks, the ones that aren't published yet, are both about multi-dimensional consciousness.
Yes, that's I feel like you went out of the limits, physical limits, you know, boundaries, definitions of I am like English or I am
Yeah.
that. And how did your spiritual practice help you to get out of that and to get that multidimensional connections?
Well, I think that it was the tarot, actually, because my mother was very religious. I never was. And it just didn't connect with me. And then when I found the tarot, it was suddenly like there was this other world, and I wanted to be in that other world. The Fool itself drew itself on my pad, and I was like, that's the world. You know, when you look into a lake or something and the reflections are so much more interesting than real life, whatever real life is. And I thought, that's the world I want to paint from. And actually, I've been doing that ever since.
Yeah, interesting that you're talking about real world versus reflections. And what is real? I mean, in your decks,
Yeah,
you
right.
have you have different decks with different spirits in them. Like when I talk about the Byzantine Tarot, it's completely different from the other decks you have been making.
Yeah, the Byzantine is more of an illustrated deck. You know, I went to Turkey about 3 times and I copied all the can never remember what the name is. You know, where they stick the little pieces of glass and things in.
Mosaic would say.
Thank you, mosaics. I copied those images and I copied their frescoes. So it's very different, but it still came from the same place in that I'd been given this postcard of Isaiah, I think it was, or Elijah. Anyway, from St. Catherine's Monastery. I've been given this card and I thought, fantastic image. You know, I wasn't really into Byzantine art before because it's very static. But
Yes.
that image really got me going, and it's in the deck as the Hermit.
Yeah, I don't have the Hermit yet, but I will show some cards, you know, just
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, it's a nice deck, but I don't use it. I shouldn't say that.
And it's a collaborative deck. You made it with
Yeah.
Matthews. Yes.
Yeah, and he's great, actually. I would sort of come along and say, this is the Two of Swords, and he'd say, I don't think swords can't be that long, sorry. Well, that's how long they are in this card. Poor John had to just put up with it.
Yeah. Well, I saw one of your interviews. It was a very nice collaboration you made together. And
Yeah, John's great to work with. He really is great to work with, and he's so knowledgeable. You know, I've got 2 or 3 of his decks, I think. In fact, floating about here, although I'll probably drop something on the floor, is this. Here's Nostradamus.
yes,
Nostradamus
Nostradamus.
deck, which
Yes.
I'm actually going to read the book of. I don't know anything about Nostradamus, which is why I bought the deck. I never use anything except the Devas and my cards. Shouldn't say that either.
Well,
But you know,
the idea of creating our own deck is to fulfill our own needs and maybe putting our own feelings and teachings and, you know, downloads also in them.
absolutely. Oh, and in fact, you know the Golden Dawn that Crowley and what's his name, Arthur
Smith,
Waite belonged to.
wait.
Both they said you had to, in order to become a magician, you had to create your own tarot deck. Not that those 2 guys actually did; they got someone else to do it, and then they claimed it. But hey.
Well, at least they have that idea, and now we are grateful for
That's right.
them.
Yeah.
That we are so grateful for them because you see the tarot community or the, you know,
Oh, yeah.
the tarot lover community is so big now, and We get
It is,
to
it's
make a
massive,
lot of
isn't it?
connections, and
Yeah,
we learn a lot. And so the Byzantine Tarot is in a way more, it's illustration.
yeah.
What names would you put on your Intuitive Tarot deck? What name?
That's purely intuitive. It came to me. Like I said, I was doodling one night. Knew very little about the tarot, actually. I'd done a very bad deck based on medieval carpets and things. And I sold that to Kaplan at US Games and bought a dishwasher. But I didn't know much about the tarot. And I was doodling along one night watching TV, and I looked down and I thought, oh my God, that's the fool. But he was amazing, and that he was completely nuts. You know, you look at his face and you think he's absolutely barking. And yet I could smell the herbs around him. I could feel the sun. It was like a Mediterranean cliff he was on. And that was like, it all came through just looking at him. So that was where it came from.
So it's a more intuitive tarot deck, and when I look at them, I mean, I cannot imagine, but imagine like true people and true beings through this deck, and they have special faces and special way of being. And this card is so interesting. You know, it's I've never seen a card where there is an action like this one. There is an action, and he found the way to get through.
Well, he's holding, I like it because it's most of my cards, the ones that are best, are ambivalent. So this guy is holding the end of the rope, but he's holding on to it. So he may not get free, you know.
Oh, yes, that's true. We
I
are
love that.
sometimes so focused on the problem that we forget that there is a way through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. I will just show more pictures about this deck and the beings we can feel and we can meet in there. So how do you do your readings with this deck? Intuitively, do you always take the meaning of the cards, like the traditional meaning? This is the devil,
Ooh.
by the way.
I don't know if you've ever come across a guy called Richard Roberts. He wrote a book called The Tarot and You. It's out again. It went out of print for ages, but he wrote about how to read intuitively from the Palladini deck. And
Oh,
that was what taught me how to read tarot
the
intuitively.
the tarot and you. This is interesting because we are going to study the Palladini and the
Oh,
Aquarian
really?
tarot for July.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
for July. So
really. Okay, the
yes,
Palladini is wonderful. No, the Aquarian is wonderful. That's the one I've still got, actually. And I went through the book, and he would say, well, look at the picture in there, and there's a person bit lonely, or in the moon, and the moon could mean this on one reading and that on another. It was like, oh, got it. Finally, it twigged, you know?
and what is interesting, Cilla, I don't have it now, but it's not that close. But the faces of, I mean, I feel there is a feeling of family between yours and the Aquarian.
Oh, yeah.
uh,
Yeah, must be.
it might
It's
be, yeah.
all, yeah, it's all based on that Art Nouveau.
Art
Because
Nouveau, okay.
Palladini's is very Art Nouveau. Mine, I was absolutely in love with Art Nouveau at the time. So I would sort of do a little drawing and say, yeah, that design works. So yeah, but you can also see echoes of Crowley's deck and echoes, no, not very much of the RWS, because I don't like it. I don't use.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a reason, another reason why you need to use your deck. And the Fool, by the way, this is the Fool she was talking about, and the sun behind.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Still love him.
yes, and also we were talking about the multidimensionality. Maybe
Mm,
it's my own view, you know. I feel that these beings come from somewhere else.
yeah, well, that's what I feel. But it's also interesting in that a lot of people told me that I paint aliens. And the first draft of that deck, they didn't have any mouths. I had to put mouths in a lot of them. And I've seen aliens, you know, Rossmore, is it? Well, you know, those weird creatures that are supposed to have landed in America. And I can see what I painted in them, but I've never actually been kidnapped by an alien.
but you feel that there is like multidimensionality. Some people would call it aliens. So there is
Yeah,
that's something coming from somewhere else, I would say.
yeah. I'd be very happy to say that, yes.
But you don't say it that much on your work, on your interviews. You don't talk that much about it. And what are your thoughts? Like we are talking intuitively. What are your thoughts about that?
What about aliens or what?
Yes, about aliens, about beings that come from somewhere else.
Okay, my feelings about that are very much what I put into the Devas. You know, the Devas are multidimensional energies that live in a parallel universe to ours. I don't believe in little men who come from, oh, I don't know, can't even think of the name of a planet right now, or a star or whatever. There are lots of people who say they come from the Pleiades, for example, and I can't even pronounce a damn word. I don't feel that. I believe that we're all star beings, yes, because if you look at the constitution of the stars, we are that, you know. But we belong on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we've sensed that there are other realities, you know.
We are talking now about your devas,
Yeah.
and yes, and you are talking about this beings or these energies. It's more energies. You are more comfortable with.
Totally energies, yeah.
And planets also. Even planets, you have put them there. And
I included the planets, yeah. I wanted to really, because I thought I either wanted a deck with 64 cards or 72. If I put the planets in, I had 72.
so you added the planets. And what about this deck, the Devas of Creation? Did you get the inspiration like the Intuitive Tarot? You have seen images, or you felt like something is coming? How did you start it out?
That came out very weirdly. I went to a talk on angels one night. I don't do angels, you know, I don't do the sweet romantic angels that a lot of people do. So I went to this talk and I didn't quite know why, but I liked the guy doing the talk. And at the end of it, I went up and I said, you know, I love what you say about them, but he'd done all sorts of courses with Doreen Virtue, and he changed his life completely. He'd been working in London Transport, you know, for God knows how many years, and he decided he wanted to be an angel therapist. So he went to work with her. And he obviously had all her decks. And I went up at the end and I said, you know, I love what you say about the angels, but I really can't stand the decks. Somebody should paint a deck of angels, as I've heard a friend of mine say that he went into a sitting room and there was something there, a being there, and he was shaking for a week. He said it was unbelievable, the power in it. And I said, that's what we need, a deck that explains that or depicts that. Maybe I should paint it. And he said, go for it. And I woke up the next morning and I thought, why not? This is what I paint. You know, these energies. I may not paint angels, but I paint energies. So that's what started it.
So you painted energies, and what is interesting about this deck is that you give also some information. You know, bring information from scientific field.
Yeah.
You even left space for us to have an experience with this deck and with the deities in there, which is interesting. And also you bring that openness. I feel that there is an openness in your decks. When we talk about intuitive, that means you have the permission to read using your intuition. And also with this, you have the permission.
Different, aren't we? Yeah. We all live in our own little universe, don't we?
Yes, we
and
are.
my universe isn't the same as yours.
And even the devas are different. That's why I'm telling you about this multidimensionality and getting out of the boxes. This is why I feel, Cilla, about you, like getting out of the boxes.
Well, my last deck, which you haven't seen because I don't even know where it is. I'm trying to paint the different dimensions, and it's hard. This is the 4th dimension.
Wow.
And let's see if there's anything else that I can show you easily enough. Oh, now this one is interesting in that I'm thinking of putting it right at the end of the deck. I'm calling it the Great Mystery. And it's a kind of, you go through this tunnel into what? You could see it as death, or you could see it as just about anything. I like the idea of walking down this open tunnel into something else, you know, where you meet people that you love, and maybe there are beautiful fountains and things.
This is
That sort of world.
So what you are saying through your decks is that not only we can read them freely as whatever comes to us, but also we can meditate through them and see. So how do you do it? Do you meditate with them? Did you meditate with them before? Did you get some ideas, sparks, or from some people who use that way?
You know, I don't know how I work with them. I don't take the cards out to I have a wonderful balcony here, and you can see the mountains out there, but I don't take the cards out because they're inside me. The best meditation, I'm a useless meditator, but the best meditation I ever did was sitting on the balcony, supposedly meditating, and all of a sudden something shifted, and I felt completely part of everything. Like me wasn't there. I was just part of the earth, part of the sky, part of, it was incredible because nothing was more important than that. And it only lasted about 30 seconds. But I've never forgotten that. And that will be how I want it to be when I die.
Mm.
And I want to just become part of the universe. I think I will.
I have a question that is coming to me.
Sure.
Do you work? Do you, or are you looking for that connection through your work?
Always. I mean, I get it more easily through music, oddly, because painting, you're saying, okay, I think I'll put some red there and a bit of blue there, and after a while you look at it and you think, oh my God, I've just painted this incredible painting, you know. But I'm thinking of nuts and bolts when I'm painting. I'm not thinking, how do I express? No, I am thinking how I express this. For example, I am attempting to paint the 9th dimension at the moment. It is almost impossible because I don't know, obviously, what it's like. And I've got these fountains and things, and I'm like, I'll probably scrap it, you know, because. But yeah, I don't know how I work. I don't analyze it. I think if I analyze it, it'd be like trying to analyze walking, and I'd fall over.
So it's just a natural process, you would say.
Yeah.
And
I do throw a lot out.
And you go through?
Well, actually, I don't throw anything out. I paint over it. You know, I've got layers upon layers upon layers of things because I don't like painting on white.
Oh, so you paint and you leave it aside, and maybe you bring it out, even if you have like few months or years past. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Absolutely.
Wow, interesting. This is an interesting to know for creative minds.
Yeah, it's great.
And you use music also to paint, right?
Always, yeah.
What kind of music that helps you to connect?
Well, this is really going to sound weird in the extreme. I've got two favorites at the moment, the Transformers and a guy called Tony Anderson.
Tony Anderson.
Tony Anderson is lovely. His work is gorgeous, and he wanted to be a pianist, and he, like a concert pianist, and he couldn't. So he started writing his own work, which is lovely. But the Transformers is weird because think, playing computers or whatever. But the music is something else. I just love it. So that's
wow.
what
I need
inspires me
to
at the
hear
moment.
that. I need to hear without looking at the movie,
Yeah. Well, have a look on YouTube because it's there. I can't. What's his name? Steve. Oh, he's got a Polish name or something like that. Put in Transformers in YouTube, it'll come up.
I'm
But it's
sure. I'm sure. This
great
is
stuff.
interesting. And Transformers, if we talk about the movie, it's also talking about aliens and other.
That is also true.
All right. This is interesting. We were talking about the process of creation, and do you create just by bench, like working for a month and then you stop and then you start again, or is it a continually process you are in of creation?
I've been painting since last August, every single morning, unless I wake up far too late and I have to go somewhere. But it's a great way to do it because it gets you into a rhythm. So I start at about 7:30 and I go on till about 9:30. And I don't actually paint apart from that.
All right.
But yeah, now I'm beginning to finish these two decks. I don't know what I'm going to do because I've got a few big paintings, but they're not the series, they're not the tarot. They aren't, I can't get into a continuity with them. So I really miss the process of painting a deck.
And talking about the new decks, you have two new decks. We talked briefly about them. The first one of the new decks is the Devas of Creation #2.
Second one is the Devas of Creation #2.
The second one. Okay, so what if you introduce your new work to us?
Okay, well, like I said, this is the Devas one. You've already seen a couple. It's quite a small deck in comparison to the Devas of Creation, which is 72 cards. This is 48. So that's one of them. What is this? Emanations. So that's the Devas coming into being, I'm not repeating myself in the deck. I've tried very hard not to, and it reads well, actually. I did a reading for somebody a few months ago, and it was great. This is, I can't even remember. Light, the light. Oops.
Beautiful. We feel their energy. There is something, we feel something new in this deck. As you say, it's something different. And it's like the Devas of Creation #1. Of course, there are my feelings. Everyone will have a different perspective about that. But the first Deva of Creation is more meet with us, get to know us.
Yes, exactly. This one is, well, actually, there was a process that I went through where I got really, really depressed about the environment because it was just before the marches in London that were talking about, the death of everything. And I was looking at things and I was thinking, we really have screwed everything. So I got really depressed and I was writing all this stuff about these cards. And eventually I thought, well, anyone who wants these cards won't want to have depressing, well, why haven't we done enough, to save the world? So I changed it. But there's some pretty hard-hitting cards. This one is Malice. And, I've got about 5 or 6 dark cards in there. It's quite useful.
But
this is one of the environmental cards.
Yeah.
Phone talking to me. This is the Earth card, Under Earth. And that's what got me into the environment because I was painting it, and I thought it's like fracking. And you know, the people who are fracking, they're going down into the earth. This one, the actual latest version, has got a red line in the top. It's almost like they've gone into the earth, right down into the earth, and it's bad idea. So that comes into it as well. Oh yes, and I'll show you this one. This is at the beginning. It's a card called The Journey, and I've got a journey that people can go on in the book. So a friend of mine saw that, and she said, oh, she had to put her hand on top of her head on her crown chakra to stop going off. So you know, there's some interesting stuff in it. I really enjoyed doing it. Now all I have to do is paint 9 dimensions, and then it'll be done.
So I feel that the cards are not just a call of change, you know, environmental change, but they are talking about our own evolution of consciousness. I don't know, I got this feeling.
Yeah, I would hope so, because if we don't, then if people are right, we actually haven't got that much more time to turn things around, you know. And when you see the politicians around nowadays, you wonder why we bother, really. Okay, this is the other one. This is the first card cards that are going to be published.
Oh,
and
wow.
This
is the tarot deck you are preparing.
This is a shimmering, and it's ready now. All I have to do is to get it sent off to the publisher. This is the Hanged Man. Oh, interestingly, I'm not putting titles on them at all.
Oh.
There's down at the bottom, there's a number on the majors, and I'm also putting a little logo to say this is a major or this is air or whatever, you know. I'll see if I can find one that has a logo on it.
I'm so excited to see these pictures with you today.
Okay, here's one with this is the last one I've finished, actually, and it's the Lady of Water. So you see there's a little logo down there and lady, and that's all I'm putting on them. So it probably isn't a beginner's deck.
Mm-hmm.
But hey.
Well, we don't put, like Cilla, she knows that, she doesn't put really conditions, but we need to know, you know, if we use it as a tarot deck, we need to know the system at least.
Yes, I would say so. Because, of course, I'm using elementals. I'm not using the cups, swords, whatever. And at the beginning, I was thinking, I don't know how this is going to work, but it works fine. Let's see if I can find you another one. Oh, yeah, this is one of my favorites. I managed to miss out the title. Oh, no, you can see the title, but it's the One of Air.
Wow.
So it's one of my favorites, this one.
It feels so fresh. We're so fresh.
Yeah, it's so free as well.
Yeah.
So it's a deck that, you know, whether it will work for everybody, I doubt. You know, I think it's going to be well, actually, like my intuitive, it's going to be a deck that some people absolutely love and some people hate. Let me see if I can find you another court card. Needless to say, the bull. Oh no! Wait a minute. Here we are. Here's the High Priestess.
Oh, wow.
She's amazing. She started the deck.
Wow. Yeah.
She's very powerful. And here's the Magician. Did struggle with him. He's not nearly so powerful as the High Priestess, but hey, it's a female deck, you know.
Oh wow, it's a female deck. Interesting. How come you call it that way? Why? Is it because of the intuition or because it has a lot of women?
It has lots of women, and in the book, I've often said this is a woman looking at the sky, or this is a woman. I mean, for example, here, this is a woman. She's looking at the moon. She knows that she wants to move on, but she's rooted. So in the actual final printout, there are little roots that she's standing on, but she's rooted, so she's not ready to move, and that sort of thing. But I haven't said it's a man, because it isn't. It's a woman.
It's a woman. So there are a lot of women. It's a woman with a nice deck. So the difference between this one and the intuitive tarot, what would it be?
Oh God, it's so completely different, because the intuitive, like you say, is much more, it's more, oh God, maybe it's not symbolic. You know, I haven't the faintest idea, but it's like I painted it something like 40 years ago. And it was done in watercolor. And it was where I was at the time. This is done in oils, and it's who I am now.
Mm.
So there really isn't a comparison now.
Mm.
I'll use both of them.
So usually your best combinations, what would that be? I know you love the intuitive and the Devas of creation one. So do you have other combinations you use, or?
I'll use the Deva 2 deck on its own, and probably with this one, with the Shimmering. And I better say, I called the Shimmering the Crystal Lattice Tarot at the very beginning, because that was where the idea came from. But in the end, I've called it the Shimmering because people will expect crystals, and there aren't any. So it's the Shimmering Tarot now. So I'll always use the Devas 1 and 2. And either the intuitive one, the intuitive second edition, or the crystal lattice. I don't think I'll use the intuitive with the crystal lattice, because for me, there's no point in having 2 lots of tarot working.
Mm-hmm. About also, we were talking about spreads, and we like to see them. Do you have a specific spread, or you do it like you just put the cards? What is your way of doing readings?
I always use the Celtic spread, always, to begin. And then I'll just do a sort of intuitive 3-card spread or whatever. I usually take a Deva every now and again to look at the higher aspects of whatever is going on. And they usually inform it. But in the Byzantine deck, there's a really interesting spread, which I've only used once, but it's huge. It's very, very, if you want to know about yourself, it's very, very good.
Which?
It's I think it's the Constantinople or the Byzantine spread.
Oh, I have it just here. Is it this one?
Yeah, that's it. Really good.
So I will try this one. I didn't try it yet.
It's quite a long spread. You really have to sort of take your time with it.
Yeah, true. So you like spreads that have a lot of cards?
No. The Celtic spread is about as much as I want, really.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what, 13 cards or something?
Yeah, 13. Yeah, 13 cards or something like that. Maybe more.
Yeah, more
Depends on the person.
I had a friend who I gave her a Deva deck, and she would take one and then she'd ask me the meaning, and then she'd take another. And she went on like this until she'd taken about 15 cards, and I was like, forget it. She just wanted the answer she wanted. You know, I don't know.
I think even the Celtic the Celtic spread, or whatever how we call it, I think it has 10 cards, and we already jumped into 12 or 13. So, and talking about also other cards, you said that you use mostly your decks, basically. I think we were talking also about your next projects, and we talked about the Devas of Creation #2 and the Crystal Lattice. I love this name, but it turns out to be the Shimmering deck, but that's fine. Yeah. Do you have a date of shipping, of production, or how are you planning things for that?
Okay, so the Shimmering should go off to the printers when I get my finger out. So Monday, let's say. Monday, this next week anyway. And then it'll probably be 3 months, as long as I can pay for it. The trouble is, at the moment, the pound is so low that they're going to oh, they're going to send me a bill and I'm going to freak out. But yeah, 3 to 4 months. I would imagine it'll be out sort of September, October, or thereabouts. And then the David 2, no idea, because I want to get it right. And at the moment, the high dimensions are challenging me, let's say.
Mm.
I'm not prepared to let it go out knowing that it isn't as good as I can get it.
Mm.
So, I would say I'm going to be happy with it by December this year.
Good, it will be good. It's practically the same time as the Intuitive Tarot deck, you got it out
Yes.
by that time.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I think we have done many questions, but I wanted to ask you one word for one question and
Okay.
see if you can stick to one word or more. We're gonna check that.
Okay.
All right, what season do you like?
Spring.
What movie do you like?
Ooh, Avatar.
Oh, all right. Extraterrestrial also. Avatars also. All right. The book we need absolutely to read.
No idea.
The latest song you listened to or you heard.
It's Chasm by Tony Anderson.
The fruit you like most.
Ooh, mango.
The oracle deck or the tarot deck, the tarot card or the oracle card for today.
Oh, I drew the 6 of Cups this morning. 6 of water.
All right. If you were a tarot card, what would you be?
Well, that's silly. I'm going to be the high priestess, aren't I? Can't be anything else.
All right, I will extend for this question. Why?
Why? Because she's what I want to be. Well, I am her. I am the high priestess. I need to be the high priestess. I may not be psychic. I don't think I'm psychic. And I'm certainly straying off one word. But yeah, the high priestess in my deck here that I showed you,
Oh, wow.
yeah, love her.
So she's the one that looks most like you for now.
Yeah.
What is magic?
I think we had this conversation last week. I think magic is technology we haven't caught up with yet.
And by the way, we have planned this discussion the last week, but Cilla couldn't have the video, to work on her computer. And like few minutes after we say, okay, let's do it for the next week, I lost the electricity in my city for I don't know how much time. So magic, yeah, a dream
Exactly.
for the earth.
A dream for the earth, becoming conscious.
All right, we finished with our questions, and I don't know if you wanted to add something for our tarot lovers, and because I'm sure there are many who likes your work. Do you have any advice, any vision, any something you want to share with us?
Yeah, trust yourself. Because, so many people read for themselves. I can't read for myself because I'm always trying to make it happen. So if you read for other people, just trust your intuition. Don't look at the book.
How did you learn to trust your intuition, Cilla?
I think it was when I first started reading tarot professionally. And I did a reading for this woman who was an ordinary card reader. And she said, "You're not reading tarot. I don't know what the hell you are doing, but it's not tarot." And I thought, and then I started reading for tarot readers, and they said, "Of course you're reading damn tarot." You're actually reading really well. And I would find that I'd say something, and I think this is the most unutterable rubbish. And they'd say, "How the hell do you know that?" So that's how, doing lots of readings. And yes, some of them were rubbish. You know, I can read very well for people who are quite intuitive, fantastically for people who are intuitive. And if they block me, they say, "No, don't know what the hell you're talking about. I can't read for them."
Mm.
I have actually given money back before. Yep, can't read for you, sorry.
And so you are always doing readings and taking appointments for readings, apart
I
from your
used to.
creation.
In London, in London, I used to. Here, it's more difficult because the expats never have any money, and I can't read Italian. You know, I can't speak Italian well enough. So I do online readings, yes, and I still love doing them. And I'm going to London in August, and I'm hoping to pick up a few readings there because I get quite rusty now, you know.
Yeah, good.
But it's much better now doing a few than being really tired of reading, you know.
Yeah,
You do get tired of it if you're doing the whole time.
that's true. Well, thank you very much for being on my channel. I feel that we can discuss for hours and hours, but I don't want to. So many questions, and we don't always find intuitive people with whom we can talk freely and easily all the time. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
know.
grateful.
No, it's fantastic when you do meet people that you can talk to, isn't it?
Yes, and
And thank
understand and
you
have
for
the
asking
same
me.
and have
Yeah,
this. Yeah.
but thank you again for asking me because it's been a privilege. I've really enjoyed myself.
Thank you very much. I hope we can meet maybe another time to talk about your two new decks and maybe
Sure.
know more about them. So thank you for you who are watching the video for being here. And I hope to see you another time with another video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, to like this video. And if you would like to try a reading with Cilla, she takes appointment online. So I would leave her link just below. So wishing you a very, very nice day and tell you bye-bye.
Ciao. Ciao.